Hey kids, what time is it? Okay, I'm going to look at a classic game, the famous Immortal game between Adolf Anderssen and Lionel Kieseritzky, played in London 1851. This is a game I guess everybody should know, and it started off as a King's Gambit. So here he accepted it, and this is the Bishop's Gambit, where he allows the check on h4. I'm not going to go into the opening theory too much. King f1, and then this pawn to b5, strange looking move. This was a line played by Kieseritzky trying to divert the bishop off of this nice diagonal. Probably not that great a move, but all right. So the bishop takes, and then black plays knight f6, and he's looking maybe to hop into this g4 square. For example, if white were to play something like d3, then knight g4 threatens mate, or e5 even, knight g4 threatens mate. Another idea might be to play c6 with the idea of d5, kind of like a Evans Gambit type of play. Okay, I can hit the queen first, something like this, and now I'm attacking the pawn and blah blah blah. So anyway, let's get on. I've had my internet problems. That's why I wasn't on last night, and I didn't think I was going to be on tonight, but I've had internet problems. So knight f6 it was, and also the knight might come to h5 sometimes, as in the game. But in knight f3, he hits the queen. Where does the queen go? Wait a minute. Do I have any viewers? I doubt it. Let's see here. I got one. Me. Okay, he played queen h6. Queen h5 looks kind of logical, attacking this bishop. Knight c3 defends the bishop, and then bishop to b7, some attack on e4, then pawn to d3. This is just the start. The crazy stuff hasn't started yet, or the real crazy stuff hasn't started yet. Here, Anderssen played pawn to d3, just holding the center together. Now Nigel Short against Kasparov played knight c3, and well, if bishop here to attack the pawn, you can actually go d4, give away that pawn, but then you got queen e2 like this, and there's pressure on the e file. I guess black can hold it there for a while with f5, but if you go g5, which is typical kind of King's Gambit type of play. Don't worry, there's training questions coming for all those viewers out there. And now d4. The game Raphael Morphy, New York 1857, continued bishop g7, e5, and knight h5. And one of the big ideas here is to plop the knight in here with a fork. And notice, if you take my knight, I would take your rook. And there was the game Short Kasparov, which was bishop b7 and then h4, etc. Short won a very quick game against Kasparov. It was like Kasparov didn't play this on purpose. It's like they had to. It's like exhibition match, and he was forced to play this defense. I don't think he was too happy about it. But anyway, let's get to our game d3, and Kieseritzky plays knight h5 with this knight g3 idea again. This is what I got, this quote from Kasparov's book, My Great Predecessors. Quote, and this was a quote by Niestadt. It says, quote, Kieseritzky bases his play on tactical threats, which Anderssen skillfully parries. So yeah, these guys back then, they played tactical type of chess, not so positional. If bishop c5 and d4, bishop b6, knight c3, bishop b7 attacks this guy again, and the bishop goes to d3. This transposes to the game Anderssen-Pollmacher, Anderssen-Pollmacher, Leipzig, 1852. Instead of bishop d3 here, you could have tried a4, I don't know. And in response, maybe black should just castle. And it's actually black who's a little better here, because his king is safer. He's got the nice bishops going out. His pieces are very active. But, all right, knight h5 it was. And then there is a threat of knight to g3, check with the fork. And once again, the pawn takes, the queen takes here. Anderssen came up with a very creative answer. he played knight to h4. This blocking this h file. If you go king g1 to avoid, this is a blunder. Should I make it a training question? I will not, because there's nobody here. You play queen to b6. I'm trying to go fast because I don't know how long my internet is going to last. So I hope I don't break down in the middle of the stream. Queen to b6 check, picking up the bishop. So you can't do that one. And maybe rook g1 would be the way to go here. Idea is you can play g4, and notice this pin on the f-pawn. You cannot take en passant, even though that is forced. Knight h4 then, very creative. Knight might come to f5 here. And then Kieseritzky played the immediate double attack. So Anderssen had to see this when he played knight h4. Maybe the best here is g6, a little prophylaxis to stop this knight f5 idea, but he played queen g5 and Anderssen played knight f5. No training questions so far, but there will be training questions soon. Hold on, let me fix this thing here. So knight f5, and now Kieseritzky played c6. I'm skipping also a lot of analysis because I looked at this game with one of my students, and we just got buried in the analysis because I put in like all the notes from my great predecessors and everywhere else I could find, and it's like we just kept getting lost in where we actually were in the game. So I'm just trying to give it a good analysis, but not deep like a Robert Hubner deep type of analysis. Not 20 pages of analysis, because to me it's not practical if it's a line that you can't actually calculate. You know, if the line goes so deep you can't calculate it in the game, then it's kind of useless in the analysis. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Got a big sandstorm coming up outside. Can you hear it? Anyway, he plays c6. If he goes g6 now, white can counter with h4. Queen f6. Knight c3. Looking to maybe hop into d5, hit the queen, threaten to fork. For example, if you take this guy, I can take this guy, so that's why that holds. And bishop to b7, I marked this as unclear in my notes. So the bishop b7 can maybe, I guess, knock out that knight if he hops in here. But c6 it was, and here is your first training question. What is the best move for white? This will give me a chance to catch my breath. Wow, that sandstorm really hitting hard. Hope it doesn't knock my internet out. I had internet problems already. Yeah, so I'll give you a chance to think about this, how you would play as white, while I'm gathering all the people, all my viewers, gathering in, lumbering in. Meanwhile, I can talk about, LeBron James's son just went. He had a heart attack during basketball practice. You know, I remember when I had my first cardiac arrest during sports camp. The good old days. The good old days. Nobody knows what caused this heart attack in this 18-year-old fit athlete. We'll never guess, I guess. We can't even ask the question. We're not allowed to ask what caused that. So we don't know what it was, but we know it was not the vaccine that we can eliminate. So we'll never figure out how that happened. And they're trying to tell us, you can't ask his vaccine status. Yes, I can. Yeah, I can ask. Because a year ago they were wanting my vaccine card so I can buy a Whopper. So, got to have vaccine, prove your vaccine card to work or to go to school. Yeah, so, I think it's fair game to ask somebody's vaccine status. I think it's fair game. Anyway, we'll never know what happened. It was just a coincidence, I guess, that a athlete in the prime of his youth maybe he got hit in the chest with somebody hit him in the chest. Maybe that happened, like that football player that died on Monday Night Football. Maybe it was the same thing. Maybe it was climate change, but we know it wasn't the vaccine. We know that for a fact. Anyway, it is white to play here. The best move would be to simply move your bishop back. And then after g6, maybe the knight can hop back to g3. Notice the pawn cannot take. But here's where the crazy kind of starts, because Anderssen played pawn to g4. leaves his bishop hanging, protects his knight, taking advantage of the fact that black cannot play en passant. So next training question for you. What is the move for black? What is the best move for black? Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and continue. So I don't know. Maybe you think I shouldn't make fun of LeBron James' son, but it's like the Joker said, you get what you effing deserve, man. Like these people pushing the vax on everybody. This guy's a billionaire. He should have known better. The information was out there. He said he did his research. Saw a thing where he said he did his research. I guess his research was, whatever the gals on The View had to say. That was the limit of their research. Those people that got jabbed. That was the limit of the scope of their study. Was what Whoopi thought about it. What should black play here? I wonder what black should play here. How does black react to this? Well, it is not to take the bishop, because then, hold on, let me set this up here. If you take the bishop, I will take your knight, and then if you play g6, rook g1 hits the queen, and then I can grab this pawn, and if you grab my knight, you are up a piece momentarily, but and I guess you're doing okay here, but you want to do better than just a little bit okay, because I got big initiative here. I'm going to hit the queen, I'm going to fork you, I'm going to get my material back. So that's not the best one. The best one is to actually play g6, say go somewhere with that knight, and if I take here, he takes there, hits the queen goes away. Alright, queen f3, gonna round up this pawn, I imagine, on f4, and then he takes the bishop, and I think black is better here. But what he played was knight f6, which kind of keeps the queen kind of stuck in there, stuffed in there. Black is still doing okay here, but the position's getting out of control. What is the best move for white? Dezo, did you see the UFO hearing? I did not. I saw, the only hearing I saw was RFK testified on censorship, and then the Democrats tried to censor him, which I thought was the height of irony. But I did not know there was a UFO hearing. Are they claiming there's UFOs? Were they UFOs or were they Chinese spy balloons? I'm going to have to check that out, the UFO hearings. They are claiming, yes, UFOs. I suspected it all along, and they were heard. The UFOs, who was heard? The aliens were heard? They heard the aliens? What did the aliens say? The aliens said, drink more Ovaltine. They who claim UFO, they were heard. So people who claims there's UFO got to get up and say, hey, there's UFOs. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think there's UFOs. There could be, but I just don't think there's UFOs. Precisely. Yes, big distraction. I'm much more worried about. I'm much more worried about us starting a World War III in the Ukraine than I am about a UFO. Besides which, I don't want to know. Well, I hope there's not UFOs. The aliens might be hungry. They might be here in search of food, and they might think, hey, those humans look tasty. Don't want to know. Anyway, it's white to play. The move Anderssen played, very strong here. Have I ever seen a UFO? No, I have not. I think I would, if I saw an alien, I think I'd shoot it. I'm pretty sure I would shoot that thing. Ask questions later. Shoot first, run some kind of autopsy on it, and then figure out what that sucker was. Never saw a conical beam of light from the sky. Now I have, but I always just figured it was like some kind of military operation. I remember I was in San Diego and everybody stopped and there was like, because there was some kind of weird thing in the sky, but it's like cows rising up within it. You saw a conical beam of light with a cow rising up in it. Or are you asking if I've seen one? No, I do not do marijuana, my friend. I do not do drugs. Are you saying that you've seen a cow rising up in a conical beam of light? And why do the aliens want our cattle? They're cattle rustlers. What do we do to cattle rustlers around here, buddy? We hang them. Some alien steals my cattle, I'm going to be hanging him. It's just a classic image of UFO abduction. There you go. Anyway, maybe they built the pyramids. Maybe that's how we got the pyramids built. The aliens decide, hey, let's build pyramids and then go away for like 2,000 years. Maybe that's what they were doing. And if there is alien technology, I hope they can fix my internet. I hope they've got better internet than Cox does. So that's why I wasn't here last night. No internet. I thought I wasn't going to be here tonight. I was just sitting here. I was like, what am I going to do? There's no internet. And then finally it popped on. So I hope I don't get cut out on the internet here. Anyway, the white move White played was rook to g1. I hope we prove so much was due to aliens. Yeah, because the history of man is pretty disappointing. So, yeah, hope we can blame it on some aliens. Maybe we'll just blame it on the illegal aliens instead. Say it's their fault. You know what we should do? We should get Donald Trump to be president, and he can build a force field, build a giant force field around the earth, keep the aliens out. That's what, and we'll make Mars pay for it. We'll make Mars pay for it. Thank you for indulging my distraction. I like that idea now that I think about it. We'll build a giant force field around the earth, make Mars pay for it. All right, rook g1 it was to protect the pawn, and then pawn to h4. I'm looking at the game Anderssen-Kieseritzky. Maybe Adolf Anderssen was an alien. This guy plays some strange moves, man. I really like this Anderssen guy. He plays some crazy moves. I look at his games. He lost a lot of games too. You never get to see the games he lost, but he was always just all out, you know, bang your head on the wall type of chess, man. He was a heavy metal smash mouth chess. He's the guy that originated it. So here you go. Oh yeah, so what happened here? Here is where I believe, and I could be wrong, but from my analysis of yesterday, while my internet was out, I think this is the losing move. We know it's a bad move to take this bishop. Looks like the most natural thing in the world. I think this is losing by force, in my opinion, and I'm arguing with 175 years of analysis, but I think, Dezo, this is big news, I think I have analyzed this to a forced win for white. I could be wrong. The alien computers in the future will prove me wrong in 10 years from time, but I think this is a forced win. Now, they always say that black had a draw here later, but I'm going to prove to you tonight, right here, first time published ever in the last 175 years, that white is winning by force after c takes b5. Big claim. I know it's a big claim, but that's what I'm claiming. All right, so the best move here is actually h5, so this queen doesn't get smothered as much. And then after h4, all right, the queen has to go to a safe square. And then g5. Another idea of this pawn here is that this knight has somewhere to hang. So I can hang that knight on there. And now save the bishop. And d5. This is just typical analysis. Queen e1. This is all well known. A lot of this was taken from my great predecessor's book. A lot of it was taken from Stockfish. I don't know. I just kind of mashed it together. But take, and now the knight is hanging, so queen takes e4, check, and then move the knight, and black is slightly better here according to Stockfish, and I believe him. But anyway, c takes b5 I think is wrong. Now, not Queen to f3. Queen f3 looks very good because you are threatening to take on f4, but black again can go h5. So Anderssen played very well here, h4, squeezing the queen back, and it's a training question for you. What is the best move for white? What is the best move for white? Bishop takes f4. Well, I could grab a pawn, but I think this is going to allow black to, again, fight for some space for his queen and try and open up some lines over here. So first, I can prevent that. Or I should say Adolf Anderssen can prevent this. Adolf. This guy was named Adolf before being named Adolf was cool. Dezo's got it right. Pawn to h5 first. Now the queen comes here. Okay, I can't play bishop f4 right now, but I can play queen f3. Threatening to win the queen with bishop takes f4. Also, there might be a little discovered attack on this rook over here in the corner if I push the pawn up to e5. Here, he plays knight to g8, so the queen's got some breathing room. Computer analysis shows that this was the best, though I don't think anybody would ever play that because it's just giving up the queen and you're just accepting a worse position. You do get some play here, though, more than I thought you would. After bishop takes, knight takes, there's a threat to fork here. This is the point. So I take that queen and you fork and you come here. And I guess, what's the material? Black's got 6 pawns, white's got 6 pawns. I guess the material's equal, but black is undeveloped and he's got a worse pawn structure. So I guess white is better here, and Stockfish agrees that white has a big plus here. Yeah, am I looking at that right? Yeah. So I don't know if that's... Maybe. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, I guess I would play it if I understood that I could get this variation instead of what happened in the game. I guess I would play it. It'd be worth a try. Dark square. Black has trouble developing the bishops. Yes. Knight g8 is what he played, though. And then he does grab this guy, and the queen steps back. Tries to keep eye on the d6 square. The famous immortal game. All right, and let's see. Knight c3. Well, he's attacking the pawn on b5. He could play knight to d5 and hit that queen straight away. The rook can slide over to the e file against the king. So white is getting all of his pieces into the game. And as Dezo pointed out, these pieces are still at home sleeping. I got 4 players now. Four viewers now. All right. So I think I got 4 viewers. I don't know. So I think most of my viewership is like... trolls and bots. Yeah, so that's the main bulk of my... See, I just lost 2 of them right there. I think the main bulk of my viewership is just trolls and bots. So here we go. He played bishop to c5. Now, if he tries to protect his pawn with queen c6, white can play a4, threatening the b5 pawn and also trying to open up a line for my rook. And if b4, then knight to b5. And yeah, I could fork on c7, but it's better to play knight d6 check and then end up trying to fork on f7, because if I win this rook, the queen can capture, but if I win this rook, he can't capture back. So white is winning big time there after queen c6. That still might have been the best. He played bishop c5. He's attacking the rook. Now, Anderssen here went knight to d5. So computer says the best move is d4. Point being, if the bishop takes, then I win like this, because the queen has a job of trying to defend the bishop. Plus I'm threatening this fork always. And if he goes bishop to f8, then bishop e5 hits the queen. So queen c6, I guess, and then knight takes g7. And if the bishop takes, I guess your rook would be trapped in a corner. So I guess I should say that, and maybe I said it wrong earlier, because white was still winning after c takes b5. I think it was later where they said that it was a draw. So that's the part where I'm going to correct it. You will have time for a game against the engine tonight. I will not. I started late because my internet was out and I didn't even think I was going to have it. And then this dust storm happened, and I looking around, it's like I turned around. The dust storm somehow energized my internet. So I don't even know if this internet's going to last. I might not be able to finish this stream. I hope I can. But anyway, get back to this. I want to get back to the famous part where they claim it was a draw. Not at this part. At this part, white is still winning. So bishop takes f4. We did all this, and then he played knight to d5 straight away. Says you can have that pawn. And this starts the world-famous combination. Yeah, this is where the part where they said that bishop d6 might only end up in a draw. So the best move is probably the just mundane rook to e1. Save your rook. Why bother? But Adolf Anderssen goes bishop d6. And the engine thinks that white is losing. I'm arguing right now that white is not losing, that white is winning. So what happens is he took this guy on g1, and that, of course, is not correct. But the argument is that queen takes a1 should end in a draw. It's written in Kasparov's predecessors, and I looked at the latest videos that people made, and people say that this would have been a draw. I'm arguing it is not a draw. Now, Stockfish will tell you right now that this position is equal. It says, first it says that white's losing, and then after just a little bit, it'll say that it's equal. It's all 0, 0, 0. But I'm going to argue right here for the first time, Dezo. I'm going to overturn 175 years of analysis with my brilliant idea. Well, when I say my idea, I mean Stockfish's idea. But so what happened was I was looking at this and I was like, you know what? It's like, because there's a line where I play knight c7 and take the rook. I'm like, why do I care about that rook? Why do I care about this rook? And when you move the engine forward, it'll start to see it, but it doesn't see it right now. So, okay, I've got to get out of check. And then the line is queen b2. This is supposed to be the line. And I might just be grabbing this guy here. For example, I guess, I didn't put this in my notes, but if you take here, then queen takes c2, and I take on c5 next, and there's no more defense. So the line here is king to d2. Protect your pawn first. This is the line of analysis they give if he had taken the rook with queen takes a1 instead of bishop takes g1. So this is the line given everywhere. And now the bishop takes, and now white plays, the computer still says equal. I'm going to say it's not. I'm going to tell you right now it's not. e5, the great idea to cut the queen so I can play knight takes g7. Now, before I show the line that they say is equal, bishop a6, there's also some analysis with bishop to b7, and this is, I also believe, has been turned over by the computer. I noticed on Daniel King's thing, he gave the top computer move here that I will show you in a second. That's the only place I've seen this top computer move, because Kasparov's book was still saying that black was doing fine here. But let's take a look. See, knight takes g7, check. King d8. Okay, I grabbed this guy. And now it was claimed that black could get out of this with this check. And once the knight is diverted away, the knight comes out to e7. But the computer move, the neural networks found this great move, queen to f6. Not taking the knight with check. Taking the knight with check, not good enough. Queen to f6. Let me back up just a second. If I tried like knight to e6 check here, the king just runs away. I got nothing. But he plays queen here, and now knight to e6 is a huge threat. There's other threats too. A discovered attack on your rook. Sometimes the knight might come back to here and attack this pin piece. Very deep computer move. And Daniel King's Power Play YouTube channel, which I highly recommend, is the only place I've seen somebody mention this. So this overturns the bishop b7 line. Well, example here, I guess, let's say he plays, well, let me show you my threat here. After this, my threat is now to give the check. because if you run away, the rook takes check, and you block, and that's mate. And if you take the knight, then I have queen takes e7 check and queen c7 mate. So let me back it up here then. Queen f6. After queen f6, let's say he grabs the pawn, for example. Then now bishop takes check, king c7, the knight comes in here, and the threat is to play bishop d8 check. If the king comes back, then knight to d6 check is mate. And if the rook takes, then I have queen d6 check, king c8, and knight e7 is mate. So what if black plays bishop f3 then? This gives the king another escape square. But here you have knight, here you just grab the rook and you're better. So I believe the easy to see bishop b7 is overturned. But the one that I think nobody knows until tonight, Dezo, the grand premiere tonight, only me, you, and the aliens know that this bishop a6, which everybody claimed is a draw, is not a draw. And I'm here to prove it right now. And even here, the computer doesn't see it for a while. So I'm very pleased with this. So the move, because they were always doing this knight c7 and win the rook, and I'm like, why do I need to do that? Why do I need to do that? And I guess people probably don't analyze it because this line was allegedly already dead. But I looked at it because I didn't have any internet, so I didn't know what to do. I just looked at it. So the line is actually bishop to b4 with the idea of knight to d6. And even now, it takes the computer a second to catch on. I have the engine running right now, and it started out as zeros. Now it's starting to see that white is winning. Now it's starting to see, I'm already up to 1.65, but it'll get higher and higher the longer I let it on. So let's say he grabs the pawn, and then I give this check. And if he goes king to f8, that's a mate, so he can't do that. If he goes king to d8, then bishop a5 check, throw that one in and trade these guys off before I play knight f7, winning the queen. And that is winning. Bishop to b4 is the new move that I think overturns 175 years of analysis. That is my claim. That is my contention. I could be wrong, but that is my claim. So somebody's got to go out and prove me wrong on that. Because it was always thought, and it's mentioned in the books and everything, that this should be a draw on this bishop a6 line, but I'm claiming it is not. Canvas, bring it back to metagaming. I don't even know what that means, but I'll do it if I can. I don't know what metagaming is. But I don't know. Canvas, aren't you excited? This is like the considered one of the greatest games, if not the greatest game of all time. 170, everybody, every world champion with every computer has analyzed this position, and I think for the first time tonight we have made chess history by overturning that and claiming that white was winning in the queen takes a1 line. That's my contention. That is my contention. Of course, I had help from Stockfish, but still happy to contribute to chess history there, right there. There's the line of greats. There was Anderssen, Morphy, Steinitz, and then finally chess misinformation, showing you the way chess really is. All right, but let's go back to what actually happened in the game. It was bishop takes g1. Again, rook e1 would be just a simple mundane win, but that's not the way Anderssen played. I think, in my opinion, the reason they played like this super romantic style, it wasn't like, because tournaments were few and far between then, right? I mean, so to prove you were the best, it wasn't enough to win a tournament that you got to play in once every 3 years or whatever, whenever you could get there from the local guys in the Austrian chess cafe. You had to do something spectacular, right? You couldn't just go onto chess.com and play Title Tuesday and then get your rating up there. That wasn't the way it was. So in order to prove that you were a top guy, you had to do something, you had to be some kind of crazy. That's my opinion anyway. Could be wrong. throwing that one out there for you. All right, so bishop takes g1 it was, and then he played the spectacular e5, cutting the queen, threatening knight to takes g7 check and bishop to c7 mate. And he takes the rook, and here you go. It is a training question, a super easy one. Well, maybe not. You could still screw it up if you were white here. So I'm going to make it a training question. How does white continue here? How does white continue here? You could go the wrong way. You're in check, so obviously you're going to move the king. So which way do you go? Don't screw it up at the last second and ruin the immortal game. Then it would be like the immortal game where you drop the ball on the 99-yard line. I lost a viewer. I lost a viewer there. Can you believe that? I'm talking about one of the greatest games in the history of chess with brand new, earth-shattering analysis, and I lost a viewer. Can't believe it. See, what I should have done was earth-breaking chess analysis in a hot tub. With a hot chick in a hot tub. Then I would have kept the viewers. Would have kept the viewers then. What is the move? I know there's viewers out there. Don't be afraid to throw an idea out there. Can you hear that storm like banging against my door? I'm afraid to go out there and see what's going on. Bring it back to metagaming to be used. You are talking internet speak that I do not understand, friend. I'm an old man. I barely know how to turn on the computer. So I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's going to throw out a suggestion here. They're just going to lurk. They're going to lurk. All right, I'm going to give it to you in the interest of time. Also, I'm kind of rushed because I'm afraid my internet will crash again. It has not been stable, so I'm going to give it to you. It is king to e2. Not king to g2. King to g2 would kind of mess things up. Because bishop to b7, and now everything's kind of on this line, and that's not the way to go. So the answer is king to e2, and allegedly he resigned right now. What a chicken. Come on, dude. Like, finish it out. Let the guy play the spectacular move. The game is famous for knight a6, as we've seen in the Blade Runner movie. But let's look at bishop a6. That's supposed to be a stronger line, still losing, of course. Now I have this check. I'm threatening the rook, threatening the bishop. And if king d8, do not take the rook. Take this guy on a6, threatening to play bishop c7 check. So the threat is check, king e8, knight d6 check, and queen. I guess you could have went king f8 as well. I just put in king e7, and then queen takes f7, mate. And if queen c3, the idea to give up the queen for all the guys, then check, give up the queen. And if the king takes, I take the rook. And if the knight comes here, then I take the rook like this. So not bishop a6, bishop b7 also doesn't stop anything because check, and I can take here, threatening queen to e8 or f8 being mate. And if knight h6, now the rook protects this row. Then knight e6 check. Come on, computer, make the move. Knight e6 check. When the pawn takes, I think you can see the mate, but my computer is going to argue with me about whether I can actually make a move. So I should have turned the computer off. I turned the computer on during that one section of the analysis. It doesn't like it when I get to mates in 4s and mates in 3s and such. So knight to e6 check. If he takes with the pawn, check and mate. But the game is famous for knight to a6. And this is Blade Runner. This is the Blade Runner position. So it is check, king d8, and what move did Roy Batty find here? It is a training question, the last training question. I'm going to leave it here. I'm not going to move until you've made an answer to the question. It is white to play. It is one of the most spectacular combinations in chess, though it's not actually that hard from this point in time. White to play Mate in 2. Can you find it? Can you find the Roy Batty move? I want more life, father. I guess he said father. He could have said the other word too, but I think it makes more sense if he said, I want more life, father. Use that for my intro tomorrow night. So tomorrow, if I have internet, I don't know if I will have internet. Guy's supposed to come out on Saturday to look at it. But I'm going to start looking at how to beat the Dutch Stonewall. That's my next chore. That's my next chore. I'm not going to take as long on it as I did on the French Steinitz, though. But still, I want to take a look at that. I've got some ideas. So I want to do that. I might put it in metagaming, whatever that is, to be used. I might put my attack against the Dutch Stonewall, because you got to beat those Dutch Stonewall players. Just got to beat them. Though I've actually always had success against the Dutch Stonewall, so I'm not that worried about it. My basic philosophy against that has always been to just trade off the dark squared bishops and then play it from there. For some reason, I always did well. But still, I want to be able to crush them. Nobody's going to answer this. Are you kidding me? I've got 4 viewers out there. Come on, this is one of the most famous combinations. It's like in every movie that they ever show a chessboard, when they set the chessboard up the right way and not with a dark square in the right-hand corner. It's like every single chess position they always show this one, because it's a move, and then they say that's ridiculous, you can't play that move, and then it's like checkmate on the next move. So you would think like a really super strong player would be able to see that that's checkmate on the next move, but guess not. They're so shocked, like, I can't believe you just played that move, and then it's like, oh, there's mate on the next move. Nobody. You're gonna leave me hanging. That's kind of like when I put up the hand for a high five and then you just leave me hanging there. This is what this feels like. I got up my hand, high five me on this, and then nobody answers. I'm just hanging. Just hanging. Nobody's going to answer my little question. Canmus says 5. He gives a high five, but he doesn't give the chess move. Mate in 2. White to play and mate in 2. It's matey in 2. Famous, world famous combination. This is why they call it the immortal game. Though he actually never played it in the game, allegedly. The guy resigned. Did not let him play it. But still. Let's see what that move is. I'm getting a lot of viewers here. They can't find this mate from the immortal game. One of the greatest games. Some people say the greatest game in chess history. Well, I guess they used to say that before everybody saw all the mistakes they made in the game. But still. So you guys tuning in late, you missed it. I had some analysis that turned over 175 years of analysis with the help of Stockfish, of course. Okay, he's got it. Hello and good day, Batil. You tuned in just when I'm giving the last training question for a mate in 2 from the famous Adolf Anderssen, Anderssen-Kieseritzky immortal game. You know, I've been watching streams to see what other people said about this, or not streams, but YouTubes, and they were always like saying Kieseritzky or something weird. It's Kieseritzky. It's easy. Queen f6 check. Canmus has got it. Canmus with the famous combination. Queen f6 check. That's ridiculous. Let's go. Queen f6 check. Ridiculous. What have you got in mind after knight takes f6? A Piano Guy Chess. I think I know you. Do you know me, Piano Guy Chess? You are one of the few, one of the fortunate. All right. You will know me for about 1 more minute as I finish up this stream, and then you'll have to know me tomorrow night. Bishop e7, checkmate. I didn't see it coming. Canmus, nice find. This is the immortal game, Adolf Anderssen. So, are you a chess coach in real life? I am a chess coach in real life, Piano Guy. I am a chess coach. So, I don't know who Piano Guy is, but apparently I like him already. I like him already. I hope so. I hope he's not going to come on here and say, hey, you're a lousy coach or whatever. So there you go, Piano Guy. We looked at the Immortal game with Adolf Anderssen. By the way, Piano Guy, I also post all of these on YouTube, though nobody ever watches them. This is like the most viewers I've ever had in my stream. Actually, I always get a high viewership when my computer is about to crash. So I got Piano. It's the same thing. It's chess misinformation, except there's no underscore. But nobody watches them, and it's not very interesting on YouTube because there's no communication. It's just I just repost it just for historical records. What an end of a night for me. Glad to find it. Nicely done, Canmus. Nicely done, sir. You are another Adolf Anderssen in the making. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, I was pretty happy with my find. Maybe you think it's geeky. Maybe you think I'm wrong. But they always said, all the books, everything says Queen A1 is a draw. The computer says it is a draw right here. But it is not a draw. We found it. We overturned the analysis. I'll just show you because you forward it, and it takes the computer quite a while, even when you get to that position. Well, it doesn't take too long once you get to that position. But after Bishop A6, just to show you, not to go through the whole thing again, the amazing Bishop B4, and then this is going to win, not draw. Do not go for the rook in the corner. Go here for the mate, and I think that white was always winning after queen takes A1. My opinion, maybe some strong player can overturn it. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here before my internet crashes. And it has been very spotty. That's why I started late tonight and didn't do one last night. But I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow night, and we'll start talking about the Dutch stone wall and how to beat that monstrosity. So see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for stopping by, and adios.